I am an African.
And I think this question perhaps could go out for Dr. Craig Moffat. Another article we've read was the New York Times a couple of days ago that basically showed how stubborn the disparity between the global vaccination rollout programs are between the developed and the developing world. Um, so, do you think that this disparity with developing countries hoarding up vaccines and the lack of vaccines rollout in Africa is probably one of the causes of this flourishing black market for COVID vaccines?
Yes, I do. But I think let's just give some background to why this
Yeah.
is such a worry on the continent. Is that if you look at most illicit trade markets or black markets or the deep web markets, is that you would find that it would be an item that a certain sector of society would want only. For
Okay.
instance, it could be smuggling ivory, smuggling gold, smuggling gems. It's only a certain sector of society that need that or require it, right?
Mhm.
Whereas with the COVID vaccine, everyone requires it, affluent and non-affluent people, right? So I think that this is why this scourge is such a big thing at the moment, is because the market, there's never been, or rather in living history, there hasn't been something that's been this much needed or desired, or the potential for it to be desired, you see. So I think that's we need to understand that first, but because I mean, as Rick and I like to say, it's a bit of a game changer in the illicit market trade, because it's everybody needs it, right? And to your question, yes, I do think that the disparity in vaccine rollout in the developed and the developing world is impacting on it, because obviously in the developing world we have a country like South Africa, which is part of the G20, yet our rollout has been so slow, whereas you have a
And this
country.
is the most developed
Sorry?
of the African countries. Yeah.
I didn't want to say that because then I'd be accused of promoting South Africa at other things. But yes, I mean it's considered one of the most developed, let's say, right?
Yes.
And if the rollout there is struggling, you can only imagine what the implications are for other developing nations.
I wanted to ask was the we really try and end it on a positive note here on Africa for Dummies. So I think recently we must have heard of news about how South Africa is going to be manufacturing the vaccines. I think it's going to be deploying out those vaccines next year, and they're looking at about 100 million a year. I think it's the Pfizer one. It has designated a few other countries. I think Rwanda, Kenya, and another. Do you think the more capability Africa gets for manufacturing its own vaccines, like South Africa for starters, do you think this would help curb the COVID-19 vaccine black market?
Yeah, it should, yes. But if you remember, I mean, South Africa was manufacturing J&J vaccines as well, but it went out. It didn't stay in country. You see. So with these new agreements, there should be prescriptions in it that state that X amount of vaccines have to stay on the continent.
Yeah.
Because if it
So the
all
priority should be for the shortage in Africa rather than for it
exactly, yeah.
beyond.
Well, but obviously Pfizer will say no. But they have to sit down, and these agreements have to be, because if you look at all the countries that had the best vaccine rollout, it's always those that had deals when they were manufacturing it, that they had deals that X amount stayed in country.
So countries like Israel, for example.
Israel, Chile in South America as well. They
Yeah.
did exceptionally well just because they were able to sign agreements that the drugs, X amount of vaccines will stay in country. So we need to ensure that, yes, it's great for us to produce them, which would be wonderful. But if we can't procure them, it doesn't help us. Then we're back in, and I'm not trying to end on a negative note. I'm sorry.
Hey guys, if you liked that video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
If you'd like to hear more of this, check out the full-length podcast on multiple platforms, including Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple Podcasts.
See you guys there.